Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's actual lesson. I want to go over with you your vocabulary. Remember, I'm a big believer that math is a language, and so you have to know what the words mean in order to know how to solve them, in order to know, what they are asking you to do. So, positive, a number that is greater than zero; negative, a number that is less than zero; opposite, a number that is the same distance away from zero, but they go in different directions. So we have some examples. 7 and negative 7 are opposites because both numbers, 7 and negative 7, are both 7 spaces. Like if you looked at the examples from yesterday, they are 7 spaces away from zero. So 7, positive 7, goes 7 spaces to the right of zero. Negative 7 goes 7 spaces to the left of zero. So we see that they are the same distance away from zero, but in opposite directions. So that's why they're called opposites. An integer, sometimes it's easier to define by what it's not. Integers are not fractions, decimals, but we are considering all the whole numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, in a positive direction, and they're opposites. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and so on. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about an integer. And we get into some review of what a whole number is, and rational number is just a fraction or a number that can be written as a fraction. And then you have the counting number, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so today's assignment, this is a challenge question. Can you label a number line? I went over it with you yesterday on your assignment. So if you need to sneak back and look at that video, you may. But try to see if you can label this on your own. Remember, I want the numbers labeled when you drag and drop. So you just pull this guy over here and you place him. Try to put him right in the center. Notice I'm not putting it on the line. I'm just labeling a number line. I'm not putting data points on the number line. So I got that good and lined up, and I put my 0 there. And then I would just pull the numbers over. Challenge, see if you can do it. There's also a vocabulary. Now, there's no reason to miss these questions because the very definitions that I want you to drag over here, a number that is the same distance away from 0 but in different directions, literally that definition is up in this slide over here. It is the same thing. And some of you smart people can, the people that know how to work, my son showed me how to do it, where you can split the screen, drag and drop. There's no point in missing these questions. And so you're going to drag over. This is a drag and drop. And you take this idea of this definition and you match it to one of these 3 words. So a number whose value is less than 0. Well, hopefully you can go up here, a number whose value is less than 0. We see where that is. So that's the word negative. And so we would take this, a number whose value is less than 0. So we're going to take this definition and you just drag it over to this negative. And you just line it up. Okay? On slide 4, though, this one's a little bit challenging. And so I want to go over it with you. Question 1, it says 0 lies between A and D. That tells me if 0 lies between A and D, we're going to create numbers, possible numbers. Now, these are whole number and integers. Okay? If 0 lies between A and D, that means A can't be 0 and D can't be 0. But B or C could be 0. So you're just going to make up numbers for whatever you think you want it to be. Not everybody's just going to match up the same. So notice it says 0 lies somewhere between A and D. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so you can see what I'm talking about. We don't know, according to this number line, clearly it's not numbered. So it's saying if you were to put 0 somewhere on this number line, what are your values for A and B and C and D? But A can't be 0. D can't be 0. But maybe C could. So let's say that we make C equal to 0. Fair enough. It doesn't have to be 0. It could be one of these other ones. But for this assignment, you can do this on yours as well. I'm making C equal to 0. So if that's true, let's count. D has to be worth 1, 2, 3. That makes, if C is 0, if C is 0, that makes D have to be equal to 3. Why? Because it's 3 spaces to the right of 0. All right? So now let's count in a negative way and see what the value of B could be. So we count -1, -2. Remember, if C is 0, B is -1, -2. So for B, my value for it is -2. And then A, how many spaces away is it from 0? So remember, C is 0. So you count in a negative way. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So I am going to type in the negative. The negative is right next to the plus sign on my keyboard. And so I type in, it's between the 0 and the plus sign. So -5. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. And then it says if you were to put these numbers in order from least to greatest, what numbers are missing? -6, -5. What would go next if the next number is -3? Yeah, that'd be -4. So -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1. What's next? 0. Then 1 and 2 is positive, and 3 is next. So we put in our numbers 3. Uh-oh, I undid that box. So I'm going to hit undo and put my little box back. All right, 3, 4, and then what would be next? 5 and 6. So I just wanted to go over with you what I expected there. This last question, it says complete the number line scale. Explain and show how to find 2 and the opposite 2 of the number line. There's nowhere for you to explain. So really all you're going to do is take on your number line and you're going to put 2 on your number line. Notice I'm not putting it above. I'm not putting it below. I'm literally placing this data point on the 2. Okay? I didn't really mean to cover him up. I might raise him up just a little so that way you can see. And then what would be the opposite of 2? -2, because it is 2 spaces, this time to the left of 0. So you're going to take and put on the -2, and it's not labeled. So you have to know that 2 is 2 spaces to the right of 0. So -2, the opposite of that, would be 2 spaces to the left of 0. I hope that makes sense. Don't forget your exit slip where you're practicing those vocabulary words. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you tomorrow.